Hey everyone, I'm Jeremy and this is Disciple Makers. This is a place where we are courageously striving to multiply followers of Jesus Christ. Some people wonder, why discipleship? Why should I do it? Why should I take the time? Why should I invest in that way? And I think one of the greatest reasons, and there are many, but one of the greatest reasons is one of the things that society we are struggling with the most right now is loneliness. There are so many times when I feel alone. There are so many times when we look around and we hear stories of people that are just struggling with loneliness. And that doesn't mean that they're not connecting to people. It doesn't mean that they're not with people. It just is that feeling of thinking and believing that you aren't doing life with someone, that someone doesn't have your back, that you aren't journeying with somebody. And that is why discipleship. Because we are meant to live this life to pursue faith in Jesus Christ, to pursue our Creator, to understand what His purpose and what His mission for us on this earth is. And it's so much harder to go about that, to pursue that alone. It's so much easier in community with someone else to journey together, to encourage, to inspire, to uplift, to cry, to rejoice, to celebrate with somebody else. We are meant by God to do this journey together. Jesus comes and He calls. He could have just gone on the journey on His own. He could have just gone and taught all the things He taught, done all the miracles, said the parables, and off He went to go to the cross, to rise from the dead, and did all that He did, and He could have done it alone. But He chose the 12. And even throughout the Gospels, we see that it was many more disciples than the 12. There was hundreds that He sent out. There was hundreds of disciples that were following Him, that were living with Him, that were seeing the things He did, that were hearing the things He taught. We are not meant to do this journey alone. That is why discipleship. Maybe you feel, man, I have so many questions, I have so many doubts, I have so many unanswered things. We're meant to journey through those things together, not alone. There's a story of this biblical character named Job. In fact, this is the oldest book recorded in the Bible. And so it's not a common place where we talk about discipleship. In fact, in the Old Testament, that word never really appears. It's not until Jesus calls the disciples. But there's this beautiful illustration that life is not meant to be lived alone. And you may be familiar with the story of Job, but basically in an instant, everything goes wrong for this man who is upright and godly and righteous. He's sick and he has sores all over his body and he's dilapidated and he's just mourning and grieving and going through all of these really difficult challenges. And so he has 3 friends that hear of Job's plight and they show up. And it says this, when Job's 3 friends heard about all the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their homes and they met together by agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. Job is going through a hard time. His 3 friends hear of it. They leave their homes and they want to go and sympathize and comfort Job. And then it says when they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep aloud and they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. Then they sat on the ground with him. Notice this. They sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him because they saw how great his suffering was. Job was suffering, and his friends showed up. His friends sat with him. They didn't even say a word. They didn't try to have to come up with this magical phrase to help all of Job's plight to disappear. They just sat with him. And they just knew that sitting with him would help him to know that he is not alone. Discipleship. Why? So our friends, so the people we are doing life with, so the people we are on this journey with will know that they are not alone. So that we will know we are not alone. We are not meant to be on this journey, to find the meaning that God has for us, to be on the mission that God has called us to. We're not meant to do that alone. We're meant to do it with each other. We're meant to be on this journey together. That is why discipleship. So let's go. If you aren't in a discipleship relationship, find somebody to do life with. Journey together. If you are watching this video saying, man, I feel alone, find somebody to journey with. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to have all the magic words. In fact, Job's friends just sat there for 7 days and 7 nights. They just sat with their friend because they didn't want him to be alone. Let's go. Let's do life together. That is why discipleship. Because we are not meant to live and do this journey alone. Let's go.